Hey guys, I went to a great session on teaching children of poverty, and it was called What Do We Do When Poverty Stands in the Way of Learning in School Readiness?
Last Stop on Market Street. Written by Matt De La Pena. Illustrated by Christian Robinson. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus and all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time, but he never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. "Nana, how come we don't got a car?" "Boy, what do we need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis, who always has a trick for you." The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. "What's that I see?" Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front. A man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon. She made sure CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. "How come we always gotta go here after church?" CJ said. "McGill and Colby never have to go nowhere." "I feel sorry for those boys," she told him. "They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the Sunglass Man. And I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat." CJ stared out the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip by on either side, watch a group of boys hop curves on bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. "How come that man can't see?" "Boy, what do you know about seeing?" Nana told him. "Some people watch the world with their ears." "That's a fact. Their noses too," the man said, sniffing at the air. "It's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am." Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by and stood in back. "Sure wish I had one of those," he said. Nana set down her knitting. "What for?" "You got the real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask that man if he'll play us a song?" CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. "To feel the magic of music," the blind man whispered, "I like to close my eyes." Nana closed hers too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him the feeling of magic. The song ended and CJ opened his eyes. Everyone on the bus clapped, even the boys in back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm. CJ dropped it in the man's hand. "Last stop on Market Street," Mr. Dennis called. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti-tagged windows and boarded-up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. "How come it's always so dirty over here?" She smiled and pointed to the sky. "Sometimes, when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what's beautiful." CJ saw the perfect rainbow arching over their soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful where he never even thought to look. He looked all around them again, at the bus rounding the corner out of sight, and the broken street lamps still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moving across the wall. When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, "I'm glad we came." He thought his Nana might laugh her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head, told him, "Me too, CJ. Now come on."
Isn't that a great story, guys? When I think of this little boy CJ, I cannot tell you how many CJs I've taught in my career. And then I think how lucky is CJ that he has his Nana to show him all the beauty in the world. And I just want you to reflect on what do you do in your classroom to show your students the beauty that surrounds them and the everyday things. Not the things, the tangible things that they might or might not have, that their friends might or might not have, but just the everyday things in the world that we observe and do, and the beauty that can be found in that. So please share this book with your boys and girls. It's a great way to teach them to look outside of the tangible items and look toward the world for its natural beauty and ways to enjoy, especially children in poverty, the have-nots, who need a little extra help and love and guidance to see what great things are surrounding them every day. So when you hear poverty, what comes to mind? A lot of times you have pictures like this that might shoot into your mind. But honestly, poverty is all around us, and a lot of times it's the children you least expect. So what we do know, that the elephant in the room is that you don't think just one person is impoverished. It's whole families. And when families are at risk, children are at risk. And that's our business. We're in the business of helping children. And so there's several things that can lead to poverty in families. Just a few are job loss, illness, incarceration, death or birth, or other family dynamics that might be changing, like divorce, addiction, gambling, special needs, mental illness, poor investments. So there's so many different causes of poverty. We can't narrow it down to one thing, but we do know that it's a real thing, and it's something that we need to take seriously when thinking about how to help our children be successful. So one study that our presenter noted was the rise of poverty in rural areas. And it says, of course, there's still tons of poverty in urban areas, but those people of poverty are not at as great of risk as the rural areas and people of poverty in rural areas. And that really hit home with me, because these are our babies. These are the people that we come to school and work with every day. And not all of them, but we definitely know that there's some in every class. So we know that poverty masks itself. It affects learning, it affects behavior, it affects every aspect of how the child is experiencing the world. A lot of times we know that ADD is overdiagnosed, or ADHD, and it could be from lack of sleep or lack of nutrition. things that poverty definitely has an influence on. We know that our brain is only hardwired with a handful of things. I think it's about 6 things: sadness, joy, disgust, anger, surprise, and fear. Yep, those 6 things our brain comes hardwired with. Everything else has to be taught. You have to teach children humility. You have to teach them forgiveness, empathy, optimism, compassion, sympathy, how to be patient, shame, how to cooperate, how to be grateful. Children can't learn those things if they have poverty standing in their way. If they're worried about how am I going to eat tonight, or if they're worried about my brother stole my shoes and I'm probably not going to get another pair. It's just things like that. If those are standing in the way, we're going to have a hard time teaching them things that the brain didn't come hardwired with. And we know that like that prefrontal cortex of the brain does not fully develop until about 27 years old. So that's where all your emotions lie. And being able to learn how to use those emotions correctly is very tricky. So we need to just be very aware that all of our children do not come in with the same equality as the others that are surrounding them. So I think that just my big takeaway was having that awareness that we need to be sensitive to children, all children, but especially children of poverty, and meet their needs in a very different way than what we would how we would approach the needs of children who aren't up against certain hurdles. I think that comes down to the equality versus equity rule. But anyway, I'm sorry I'm not here today, but I did enjoy this session, and I want you to check out The Last Stop on Market Street and come see me for some handouts and things like that on brain development and emotional literacy for children of poverty. Thanks. Have a great day.